Aloha kako, e komo mai, and welcome to Just and True. Yesterday I had a couple questions, and actually in Marfugel's chat, there's a lot of questions going on about Faraday boxes, or Faraday cages, or Faraday concepts, whatever you want to call them. They're awesome and they're very important, and they're another way to shield yourself from a possible outcome that we don't want. In the case of an EMP, everything that is electronic that's not shielded will go down, and most of the things that are shielded or have these pre-bought concept shields will go down as well, and even EMP protected equipment in the military. Like I was deployed with EMP protected equipment in the military, and the way that they build these cages are redundant because they have metal or iron rods that connect to the vehicle that it's trying to protect, or could connect to the equipment it's trying to protect. And if there's anything metal going into the material or having direct contact with the electronics that you're trying to protect, the EMP current, the electromagnetic current, will go into the metal and then shoot into that electronic and blast it. It'll just be fried. What a lot of people don't really understand is once that thing fries, it kind of turns into a little extra hand grenade of another EMP, so it blasts from there and it keeps going. It's smaller, of course, it just refracts. Michael Faraday was the inventor, if you will, of the Faraday cages. Michael Faraday was a brilliant man. He came up with his theories for electromagnetic conduct and conductation. It is very important for you to understand those basic concepts before building a Faraday cage. Spend 10 or 15 minutes just reading about Michael Faraday himself and the electromagnetic conduct theories that he has, because then you can really start to understand how and what these EMPs are. Obviously, EMP is electric magnetic pulse. Obviously, HEMP is a high altitude electric magnetic pulse. High altitude electric magnetic pulses, if done in the middle of the country, would completely eradicate all electronics if done 70 miles plus. It's not a very expensive process to make. I mean, and anybody out there who wants to do damage to our government, including the people on the inside, already have this technology. It's not something far out there. It's something we've had forever, since the fall of the Soviet Union, actually. There's this one scientist who is accredited with all EMP technology, basically. When the Soviet Union fell, his tech went into the hands of lots of people, and they just built on it since then. So it has not gotten better. It's gotten a lot worse. I'm going to show you today how I make my Faraday cages. I'm poor. I'm very broke. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a lot of money like all these other, a lot of these preppers on YouTube. You go on and they'll say, yeah, all you got to do is go buy this $3,000 Faraday cage, and the link is in my description. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you to get 3 or 4 things. All you might actually already have. If not, you can easily go to your local grocery store, supermarket, wherever you want to go and get them. And you need to understand the concept. You can't just follow someone's instructions on how to build these things without understanding the concept, because if you follow the instructions, maybe you might have an oversight on something, but understanding the base principles of what you're trying to build is always a very important thing. Jupiter, no. And so what I would suggest is getting a large roll of aluminum foil, a very large roll of aluminum foil, the heavy duty aluminum foil, and then also get saran wrap, as thick saran wrap as you can, and then maybe just a few, either you can do metal boxes or plastic boxes, it doesn't matter. Metal boxes would be the best. Ammo cans or any kind of tins you have, a coffee tin would work awesome. All you got to do is obviously not use that plastic lid. Anything metal would be the best container. If you don't have a metal container, that's okay, because we have the aluminum foil, that heavy duty aluminum foil. We could wrap over anything and kind of turn it into a makeshift metal container. I'll show you the couple of Faraday cages I just made right now. And these are super simple, like this. I keep on my nightstand. And this is just a flashlight. This is a very small battery operated flashlight. And another question I had is, will batteries be affected by an EMP. No, batteries will not be affected by an EMP because an EMP is discharged through the battery. The battery's just all acidic. It doesn't have any, there's no conduction happening. Rather, it's just acid or lithium, depending on what kind of the battery is, obviously. But this is just a battery-operated flashlight. What I did with the flashlight is I took the flashlight and I wrapped it with a lot of saran wrap, tons of saran wrap, and then I wrapped it with a little bit, what I did is paper, just to give an extra layer between you can do cardboard, anything thicker, just to give an extra layer between the paper and the saran wrap and the aluminum foil rather. And then I took a ton of the heavy-duty aluminum foil and I wrapped it around the paper. So I have my flashlight, I wrap it with saran wrap and make it sealed and make it tight. And then I wrapped it with something to separate it. It can be paper, it can be cardboard, anything like that. Anything that doesn't conduct electricity. And then I wrapped it with my conductor. So you don't have to use aluminum foil if you have copper shielding, if you have any kind of metal, anything that can conduct electricity. Now the point of this is that when the EMP goes off, it's going to hit this aluminum foil. It won't penetrate nearly as deep inside or at all, and it will disperse because this is a conductant. This is aluminum is an amazing metal that is super, super conductive. And when it hits it, it's not going to penetrate and continue to go further. Instead, it's going to disperse around the surface area and then find an exit and leave, essentially. So because it hits the metal and it tries to go through, it's not going to be able to go through because there's paper or cardboard, which is not a conductor. And then beyond the paper or cardboard is a bunch of saran wrap and plastic, which is one of the best anti-conductors. There's nothing in there for electricity to travel through. So it just gets dispersed. So this is 100% a completely safe flashlight right now in the case of an EMP. It's awesome. There are other things you can do. Obviously, you can put this into another container. You can wrap this again with saran wrap, put it into a shoe box, and wrap the shoe box with more aluminum foil, and you got yourself an even safer Faraday box, or Faraday cage, or Faraday shield, whatever you want to call it. And this I just keep on my nightstand to find my other equipment in the case of an EMP at night. Another thing I want to bring up is this is my second little Faraday cage I made last night. These are just the really easy ones. I wanted to make my real Faraday cage is my toolbox. I have a toolbox in the back of my truck, and it's just a big metal container. So what I did is I lined the inside of the metal with screen, actually. So this is just regular window screen. And regular window screen is awesome. It blocks out EMF, any EMF, and also, obviously EMP is a type of EMF. So it blocks out any of that low frequency radiation. It's awesome if you're trying to if you're having headaches or if you have chest palpitations or you think you're being bombarded with any kind of EMF from 4G, 5G, anything wireless. I highly recommend. This stuff is cheap, man. This is not like all that expensive crap they try and push on you on a lot of these YouTube and prepper channels. It's just a regular screen that you use to replace your screen windows. So what you can do is get a bunch of this and actually drape it over your bed at night. So when you sleep, it will totally intercept and mess with your EMF. This is great for EMF. What I do sometimes is I'll wrap it around at night. I'll totally encase my my wireless modem with screen so I'm not getting blasted with EMF. When I had my wireless modem, I totally took out the internet from my house because I don't want it anymore. So yeah, screen like this is huge. So another thing you could do is after you wrap anything up in your Faraday cage, wrap it up in screen as well, because it'll protect it from even more further damage from EMF and EMP. This stuff is amazing, man. And again, it's because it's plastic. It's plastic, and a lot of it is lined with a very thin amount of metal, or it's actually kind of woven into the plastic, if you will, during the creation of it. So it's a perfect anti-conductor. I was thinking about going over my whole apartment with this, just putting up shielding like this throughout my walls, and it actually doesn't look too bad when you hang it up properly. It looks kind of cool. So window screen. Lowe's, Home Depot, anywhere. You even probably have some windows that might not need screen on it. I'm not saying go ahead and rip off your screens in your house, but if it comes down to it, these are all things that you already have. Don't feel like you have to go out and spend money. Don't feel like you have to dedicate a part of your income to this. You know, we're planning to live comfortably in a situation where we won't have in a situation where an EP will go off, or a situation where some of these emergency occurrences happen. So don't make your life uncomfortable now, just for the in case possibility of something may go wrong. Okay, so live your life now like nothing's gonna happen, but be prepared like the shit's gonna hit the fan tomorrow. Okay. Be happy, be smiling. You guys already know my whole motto, man. We gotta be living, we're living now for a reason, and we have to be very thankful that nothing's happening today, because tomorrow something may happen. So just be happy. Happy, happy, happy. Okay? Be as happy as CERN. This is my other Faraday box. This one's a little different. What I did is I took all of I have solar headlights. They're really cool solar headlamps. And I wrapped them all individually with plastic, not even saran wrap. What I did is I had some plastic bags, but they were this heavy-duty plastic, clear plastic bags, and I just wrapped my headlamps in those plastic bags. And then I wrapped those plastic bags, once again, in a ton of aluminum foil, and then I wrapped that aluminum foil in cardboard and on both sides, and then I wrapped it again in saran wrap. So you can never have the electronics or anything you're trying to shield be touching the metal. It has to have a barrier, at least two barriers, I say, of plastic, rubber, whatever that super anti-conductor is, and then cardboard, or even wood if you have a wood box, something like that, another anti-conductor, two different types of anti-conducting material. And then once you have your item wrapped in plastic and wrapped in paper and then aluminum foil, I put it all into a plastic container, because plastic is just going to shield it from further EMF and EMP. Sorry, my cat's keeping trying to jump in the way. Jupiter, no. EMP blast. So, and then I took that plastic container and wrapped it in tinfoil, obviously. This is heavy-duty aluminum foil. It's not just that really thin aluminum foil, so it helps. So, I got my item, wrapped my item in heavy-duty plastic or saran wrap, and then I take the saran wrap and I wrap it in paper or cardboard or another different type of anti-conducting material, and then I wrap it in aluminum foil, and then I again wrapped it in plastic, put it in a plastic box, and wrap the box in aluminum foil. I hope that wasn't confusing. It's really, really simple, and again, you guys, you already have all of the stuff you need, probably. I mean, you can take a shoebox and turn it into a Faraday cage. You can, just like I did with my plastic, with my flashlight, rather. I just wrapped the flashlight in anti-conducting material. And then if you want to do another further step, you can always cover all of your Faraday cages with your screen. If you are a person out there who feels like you're having medical issues due to EMF, then you may really want to look into investing in some of the screen. It is awesome. I cannot get through enough how cheap and beautiful this is to protect yourself from EMF. I'm going to tell you a couple stories really quick about overcoming technology odds and overcoming military advancements like these EMF weapons or EMF or EMPs with dirt cheap material. There's this one story that we probably have all heard about the space race. I think Robin Williams made it very, very famous. And it was a story about NASA and the cosmonauts in Russia trying to have a race to who can write first in space. And it's funny because NASA goes on to spend millions of dollars on a fountain ink pen that can write in zero gravity. Because obviously if you're trying to write all the ink goes up, and they're like, how can we write in space? These pens aren't going to work. All these pens, they're not going to work, because the ink's going to go up. How are we going to do this? So they spend millions of dollars on an anti-gravity ink pen. Well, Russia comes out and he says, nah, we have already written in space. We write diaries all the time, duh. And they're like, well, how'd you do it? And they said, with a number 2 pencil. So that's the kind of concepts we've got to understand is we don't need a lot of money. We don't need technology. The more you know, the less you need. The more you know, the less you need. Knowledge truly is power. That's not just a statement. In Iraq, in Afghanistan, and Syria, one of the most funny things I always thought was cool is we have $1 billion in technology for infrared technology, and for infrared, mostly infrared. A lot of these Apaches or attack vehicles, see even gunships, all have. Excuse me, I'm kind of still getting over my cold. All have this thermal imagery, and even incogs have thermal imagery. Well, how a lot of these insurgents get away with it, they don't have millions of dollars. They can't come up with the technology to do anti-thermal sheets or blankets. So what do? They take a wool blanket and they soak it in cold water or just in water, and then they throw it over themselves. So here's the United States and all of its power and glory and multi-trillion billions of dollars rather in military spending, and here's Ahmed down the street with a $1 wool blanket and some water, and he totally outsmarts the U.S. government with knowledge. So just have that in mind. You don't need money. You don't need a lot of power. You don't need a lot of resources. All you need to do is feed your brain. Knowledge is power. The more you know, the less you need. So Faraday cages are awesome. They will save your equipment in time of need, so you will have some equipment. Your whole neighborhood might be blacked out, but you will have some electricity. The things to put in there is anything electronic that you want to work when the shit hits the fan. So two-way radios, CB, ham radios, flashlights, anything you want to work. If you need GPS, a lot of people are asking me, oh, what about my GPS? Can I put my GPS in my Faraday box? I'm sorry to say, this GPS isn't going to work if the high altitude or even an EMP goes off. There's infrastructure put in place that has to support these things. It's like asking me, can I put my cell phone in the Faraday cage so it works after an EMP? That's not going to work either. Your phone will work. You can still use the apps. I'm going to put a dummy phone in there so I can have my EMF reader. If you guys don't know, there are EMF readers that most phones are able to do. If you have a compass or a certain kind of computing in your phone, you probably have an EMF reader. You don't even know it. You can go to the Google Play Store or the Apple Store and download it for free. The link is in the description. No, I'm kidding. Just go to the Apple Store or to the Google Store, and it's nothing I'm pushing. It's just pick one of them, and they're all free. So yeah, knowledge is power. The more you know, the less you need. Get out there, read some books. The other thing I highly recommend, just one more tidbit, is go to your library, go to your local library, or go to your bookstore and pick up some books for things you don't know, for farming, for carpentry, for fishing, for hunting, for whatever you are going to need to do in these situations. You're not going to have electronics. You probably don't know it all. I don't know anything without the electricity. Without electricity. I'm so blessed. We all are. We have this internet we can just plug into and have instant information, and I think that's the biggest thing I'm going to miss if anything ever happens, is that instant access to information. I love it. It's very beautiful. But without it, I'm a big dummy. I'll be the first one to admit it. So I love you guys. I hope you guys have a great day. Later on today, I'm going to be doing a gas mask respirator video. I'm going to go over how to use respirators effectively. I'm going to go over why we need to use respirators and what situations do we need respirators. How can we have children use respirators quickly? Correctly. There's a lot of people asking me really good questions on respirators and I see a lot of videos on YouTube saying that gas masks are useless. I don't know what to say to that. I don't know if it's misinformation or if it's just someone trying to troll people into dying. Um, Gas masks aren't useless. Okay, there's tons of things that we need gas masks for, and it's not just for chemical attacks. There's tons of stuff you want to protect yourself from. I love you guys. Mahalo for watching the video. If you haven't, please subscribe, and I will see you guys probably later today after work. Mahalo.